Hello everyone, Speedrunner 0 to 18 here, and today I've got us a different video. As of today, Scott's Thoughts has finally released his Pokemon Yellow Mew race. I am going to review my submitted run. This is my personal best Mew run with a time of 32 minutes and 28 seconds, and I'm just going to do some live commentary to it. And just a heads up, I haven't watched this run since the race submissions ended, so it's going to be sort of like live commentary too, although I do have some ideas of what I want to talk about. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm not going to do any cuts either, kind of like how I did with the Parasect review. I remember using Scott's Overlay. Scott's Overlay was pretty good, and if you're wondering what that progress bar down there is, I basically recorded a replay file. The emulator we were using was called Super Shucky, and it allows us to record a replay file of all the inputs we used. So instead of submitting like a 2 GB video to Scott, we would just send like a 2 MB replay file. So there was temporarily a progress bar up there, but I was able to figure out how to get rid of it. Anyway, so how Mew works as a Pokemon. We essentially have 100 and everything. And you may notice I named the Mew A. Normally, I name the Mew Speed in all of my runs just because I started doing that originally during the Porygon race, so Scott could tell my footage from everyone else. But then it was just a naming scheme that just stuck with me. But after seeing some of the really competitive times other people got, it made me realize I kinda just have to get with the competition. But anyway, Mew is not really that intuitive in the early game. I don't know if you guys saw the level up moveset, but we only start with Pound, then at level 10, we get Transform. You may be wondering, how are we going to beat Brock? Well, it's going to be a very unique strat. And if you look in the top right area, you can actually see the splits. I'm comparing this to my previous personal best of a 33.56. I don't have a recording for that, and right there, you just saw me get a Pokeball. Since we were all using Scott's Overlay, there were a few patches that I don't normally play with. The first encounter in the forest is a guaranteed Pidgey. The catch rate isn't guaranteed, but if you get the Pidgey at like 30% health, it'll be like a guaranteed catch. Essentially like close to Red Bar, but not quite. And right here, I'm fighting the Bug Catcher here. I do want to fight some trainers because I want Transform going into Brock. Because without Transform, we're just not going to win. And yeah, we'll go ahead and beat that guy. There's the level 4 Pidgey. I'm just going to go ahead and use 1 pound, use the Pokeball, and it works. And since the Pokeball was in slot 1 of my bag because I didn't pick up any other items, I was able to easily just spam A. Okay, this guy right here has 2 Metapods and 1 Caterpie. This guy gives very good XP in the forest. I think this is the best trainer to fight in the forest. Like, if you can one-shot everything, but only fight 1 optional, this would be the guy. There technically is a yellow exclusive Bug Catcher and a Lass. I don't like fighting the Lass because I remember in practice runs, it was annoying that her Nidoran female kept using Growl and just making the fight just super long. So I pretty much fight everyone in the forest except her. And that yellow exclusive Bug Catcher is different from the others because he has a Metapod that has Tackle and String Shot. I believe it's the only Metapod in the entire game that has Tackle, which is kind of funny. And as soon as we beat this guy, we're almost at level 12. But that's fine though, because I believe we're going to fight the Junior Trainer. And as you can see right here, I have to heal up because obviously we're a little short on Pound PP. Anyway, we're going to enter the gym and fight the Light Years Trainer. I talked to him on the side so that way he doesn't have that little exclamation point that appears over his head and he walks towards you, which wastes frames. Normally, I don't discuss things like this in my regular videos, but since this is all relevant info to the Scott race, I may as well. And I've gotten to the point where I've actually stopped saving before Brock. Alright, so the plan here for Geodude, we just have to spam Pound and hope we just get lucky. Hope we get a crit or 2, although not completely required. Although in this fight I got 3 crits, which is insane. Our crit rate is almost 20%. So I believe what the strat here was basically use Pound for a little bit, but don't use Transform just yet. I don't remember when the right moment was. So I'm just kind of watching this along. But it looks like once I get to half health, am I ever going to use... Okay, it was as soon as it uses Bide. So let me tell you something. There is a very strange interaction with how Bide works in this game. This is very weird. Whenever you transform into the Onyx, you copy all of its stats, including its speed stat, right? When two Pokemon are using Bide at the same time, or one's using Bide and the other's attacking into Bide, the Bide table gets very confused on what damage to add, like when speed ties are involved. I've had runs where I used Bide and I got hit twice and dealt back like maybe 4 damage. And there was another one where I got hit like 3 times and I dealt back like 3 times the damage. Plus, if during the Bide, like let's say I use Bide, Brock's, this is assuming I win the speed ties, and like Brock uses one tackle on me, then another tackle, then another Bide. That Bide actually re-adds the tackle damage that it did to me, and depending on how the speed ties work, you can essentially get what is called a Bide crit. I'm sure Scott will have mentioned it in his video, at least I sure hope so. I wasn't able to pull it off in this run. I've tried to pull it off, but it is such an inconsistent strat to get to work properly. But it's entirely possible to deal like 3/4 of the Onyx's HP with the Bide crits because of how speed ties interact with Bide. It's very confusing. But I really wish Scott would quit making us do yellow races that have very difficult Brock fights. But I think it will be the end of the yellow races. I don't know if Scott in the future will do another race, but I don't know. I don't know if he does or not, or if he has any plans. But anyway, inside Mount Moon, the only thing I'm here to get is the TM for Mega Punch. And also, Scott's overlay does patch out all Mount Moon encounters, which I don't like playing with in my runs because it doesn't really feel like I'm playing the game. But for Scott's race specifically, since everyone was using it, I kind of just dealt with it. Whatever. I didn't really play this run like how I would normally play my runs. And that's kind of why I would not put this MEW result on my own personal yellow leaderboard. I would have to run it on my own at some point. And I would for sure not do the whole Bide crit strat. I think just spamming pound until the Onyx uses Bide, then use up your Screeches, then tackle and bind. It's slow, but consistent. But if you're able to get the Bide crit strategy to work, you could easily get Brock splits that are like probably a minute faster than the one I had. And also right here, Scott had a rule that you could not faint from poison in the overworld. That would have to count as a reset. But I knew how much HP I had. I believe I counted it to the exact HP. I think if you have over like 27 HP, you're fine. But below that, you're not so fine. Anyway, Goldeen Trainer, pretty easy. And right here, we're going to fight Misty. Alright, she leads off with Staryu. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 Mega Punches, and I missed one. The Water Gun crit. Alright, Starmie. The Starmie is essentially just a 3-shot with Mega Punch, although I did get a crit after an X-Defend. And as you can see on the splits, I did get a Misty split that was 8 seconds faster, which was definitely pretty nice. Excuse me. And now at this point, we're going to be teaching Bubble Beam. At this point is honestly when the MEW race really starts to catch up. Like, this entire race essentially just went down to who can get the best Brock split and who has the best overworld movement. Like, I will mention, like, this race went on for 2 weeks, and the first, like, 4 or 5 days were actually fun because it was all strategy thinking, but the final 5 days were honestly kind of miserable. Like, it was just people constantly replaying their routes over and over again just to get a very good run. And, like, it would almost always fail, especially if you were going for the Bide crit strat, which I tried to do. I tried to get that strat into a run, but I was never able to get it done. I've gotten the strat a few times, but then it would just die somewhere else. Oh, I do want to mention this. I remember this in my head. That Zubat, at the lowest possible roll, can survive a Bubble Beam with 1 HP because of the damage rounding threshold. I've actually had it happen in like 2 or 3 separate runs where that Zubat actually survived. It was so annoying. It was the lowest possible range. Every other range would have worked. At least according to the the XP, the RBY XP router. I think maybe, I think I'll provide that somewhere. I'll probably provide it in my Discord server. Like, the day this video goes up, I'm probably going to have this video go public at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and the regular daily December video I had planned, I'll push that to later in the day, because I want this out at the same time. And I think maybe in the announcements tab of my Discord, I'll provide the root file if anyone wants to take a look at it. But anyway, right there, I just get the elixir and just spam A, because the cursor, whenever you leave a battle, always goes back to the top Pokemon, which was Mew. So you can just spam elixir. And right here is the TM for Seismic Toss. Obviously, since this thing gets literally everything, there's essentially no reason to get it. I've only ever found Seismic Toss useful for Pokemon with low attacking stats, or Psychic types. Like, I know with Alakazam, Seismic Toss was useful at a point, but I think now for Alakazam, you're better off using Body Slam for paralysis chances. But some Pokemon do greatly benefit from Seismic Toss. But, anyway, that's the entire Nugget Bridge section. And as a famous gym leader would say, it contained the single highest cluster of mandatory battles in the entire game. Oh, and also Scott's overlay had a bonk counter on it. And, I'm at 89 bonks, which I think was kind of a record for me. It really wasn't a big deal to aim for low bonks, but there really wasn't a need to. Alright, so right here, I do get the TM for Dig. I don't remember if I ended up going with Dig or not. I know there was a whole debate between Dig and Earthquake, because Dig is sort of like a 1.5 turn move. Because you go underground, you come up on the next turn, but the text is sort of quick, so it's not like a complete 2 turns. But I don't remember. Remember, I haven't watched this run since the race ended. Right? Yeah, I will say though, the most infuriating thing about this run in the early game was 100% Mega Punch accuracy. And also, I do my normal Vermilion buy. I always buy 5 Super Potions and 5 Repels in Vermilion. And I put the Potions in slot 2 and Repels in slot 3. And the Bicycle will go in slot 1. That right there, 2 Mega Punch misses, but the Nidoran can't really do too much too. I will say that was pretty annoying I missed that range. But yeah, right here is the TM for Body Slam. I was originally thinking if there was a way we could skip this move, but it just means you'd have to deal with so many more accuracy problems. And you may have noticed I did skip the SSN candy. This thing does not need many rare candies. I've had to actually cut some candies out. But anyway, the Rival 3 fight here is honestly an absolute joke. And right there at Rival 2, I was ahead by 10 seconds. Now I'm ahead by 3. I'm essentially on par with my previous run at this point. Not my literal previous run, but my previous personal best. So then right next, we're going to be doing Surge. I don't remember if I taught Dig or not, so we're just going to keep watching this as we go. Alright, so yep, okay. Oh, we teach Dig to Charmander. Okay, I did not go with the Dig strat to try and save time. But I know some people argued that Dig was actually worth it. I don't know, during the final few days of the race, I was just exhausted from it, yet I kept running it anyway. I like fell for the gym leader Mat curse. And also, that was a really lucky Surge. X speed into Mega Punch miss. Classic. But anyway, right here we can get ourselves the bike voucher. And we can't escape rope out of this house in yellow version. You have to do it in red and blue. And also I did get this Squirtle here. This, I honestly think it was a mistake, because it required extra inputs to go from the top slot of your party, which was usually the Mew, to the Charmander. Because normally I would press up once to use my cut user, but you see there, I have to either move up or move down twice. That's not good. I've learned a lot since then. It's never worth grabbing the Squirtle over the Lapras unless you have to do Blaine before Sylph. Like, for example, if the Sylph rival was really bad, but you need access to all the water training, and Blaine's gonna somehow be easier. Like if you were playing with a water type and you can't really face the Magneton that well, it ends up being the appropriate strat. Plus, here's the other major difference. Squirtle has 3 moves on its moveset, while Lapras has 2. So that means you can teach for Lapras Strength, then Surf in that order, because you use Strength in a regular run more often than Surf. You can teach those both without learning over a new move. Squirtle has 3 moves, which means you'd have to teach Surf first, then you'd have to teach Strength over Tackle, which is in slot 1. So it's slightly longer as well to teach all those HMs to Bulbasaur, or Squirtle. But if you're doing a run where you have to do the Water Trainers or Blaine, you have to do those before Sylph, where you get the Lapras, then at that point it'd be fine. But yeah, right here, this is the self-destructing hiker. Nothing really eventful here, just sweep with Bubble Beam. And afterwards I used the Repel. I did like so much how Scott's overlay had a Repel counter. I need to get that on my regular overlays at some point. I've been kind of procrastinating on it. I've just been pretty busy with Daily December, and now I'm adding an extra video to the list. I mean, this is more like live commentary, but still. But yeah, my final runtime was a 32:28. So we're a decent chunk of the way through. And obviously, I'm not going to teach Metronome. I think Austin did teach Metronome in one of his runs. Either that or he was trolling, because I saw him post it in the race Discord server once. And inside the underground, you can get an elixir and a nugget. I actually don't pick up either of them. And I'm just going to rush straight to the mart. First thing I'm going to do is buy 8 super repels. Technically, all you need is 7, but I like to get the 8th as a spare. Then I get 1 Pokédoll, which means I'm not getting Mimic. And I buy 2 freshwater so I can get the TM for Ice Beam. Ice Beam generally isn't too useful in these runs for the most part because Blizzard is just so much better. Ice Beam is essentially like if you need very early stab coverage, but there will be some uses for Ice Beam coming up. So right here I'm going to teach Fly to Pidgey, and then Ice Beam in the place of Bubble Beam for the extra power, but I'm not going to go to Lavender Town just yet. I'm gonna go to Saffron. I think you know why we're here. That's right. Psychic. If I don't get this TM right away, those ghosts in Pokemon Tower are gonna be like 2 shots with Thunderbolt and Ice Beam and would just be super annoying. But this moveset you see here, it's essentially the perfect Mew moveset. The perfect Mew moveset is Thunderbolt, Psychic, Blizzard, and Earthquake. That's essentially the best moveset Mew can have. And the rival 4 fight here tends to be even worse. Like, the worst thing he can really do is that, like, his Fearow could use Mirror Move. So, like, if you use Body Slam on it, it could Mirror Move, Body Slam, and paralyze you. That's something it's known to do, but I wasn't really too worried about it. But yeah, anyway, with Psychic, all these ghosts in Pokemon Tower, no need to worry about them. Alright, go ahead and grab that elixir. I know some people would actually fight the Haunter Girl instead of like using the heal pad. That is never faster. It would only really be faster if you needed to hold on to Red Bar, but Red Bar is not that great in Yellow version. It's still somewhat impactful. The only jingles it skips though... where is it? The jingles for leveling up. But, like, the Pokemon cries and, like, move sounds, those all still work normally. So it's like, Red Bar just isn't as good. If this was Red and Blue, I would not be surprised if people tried to route in Red Bar. But anyway, with Jesse and James defeated, we can get ourselves the Poke Flute, and now, the world is our cloister. We could either go do Erica, go through Cycling Road down into Koga's gym, or we could do Sylph. Normally in these yellow runs, the optimal order is Erica, Sylph, then Koga. And the reason so is because the levels inside of Koga's gym are so freaking high. But Erica's isn't that bad. The Tangela is a one-shot with Ice Beam, and the Tangela has the highest special stat on her whole team. So if Tangela is a one-shot, The rest of them are one-shots. And also, you see Rival 6 split. I have no idea why it does that. For some reason, it splits there when you beat the Lavender Town rival. It's so strange. I don't know why it does that. It was a known glitch at the time on the overlay. But who knows. But anyway, when we're done with Erica, we can just head down to Cycling Road. I know some of the bikers here are really good experience from you, especially when you have Psychic. But I do skip the PP up as well because PP ups are slow and not really necessary. I only really like getting PP ups in runs where I'm using a move with 10 power points or less. And technically Psychic is 10 power points or less, but we're not going to need it. I've been cutting out a lot in this run. Like, I tried so hard to, like, get first place, but slight spoiler for the video. I technically haven't seen it yet because I'm recording this as of Friday night, and the video comes out Saturday. That disabled body slam was annoying. But knowing, like, the guy who would come in at the last minute and just destroy everybody, yeah, I essentially had no chance. And honestly, some of the super good run times people were getting honestly kind of ruined the fun for me. Like, the entire race just turned into, hey, who can do better inputs? Like, the kinds of solo run races that I like are ones where you get to, it's like you gotta out-strategize the person you're racing against. Like, when we would do those Pokemon Crystal backports with Ike the Killer, it essentially turned into a strategizing match because Ike was constantly better than us at, like, overworld movement and menuing and stuff like that. But with some bad Pokemon, we could theoretically out-strategize him. The few times I have beaten him were because of strategy. Those are the kinds of runs I like. And also, you may have noticed I skipped the full restore. We don't need it. And I did get an encounter there. It is so annoying. I get 2 encounters here. For some forsaken reason, they put level 36 Nidorans in here. I don't know why. And it's not worth using a rare candy to skip the encounters. I was essentially just hoping I would get lucky, but clearly I wasn't. But anyway, we can go ahead and get ourselves the gold teeth and strength. And now at this point, we're going to heal up inside the center right here. Then we're going to enter Sylph. If memory serves correct, I don't think I did any, like, optional training here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the elixir, fight the mandatory rocket guy with the Arbok, because obviously he's mandatory, you can't skip him. Then I can go ahead and get the card key. And then right here, I'm actually going to loop around and then go up to the 10th floor. Technically, it is faster after Giovanni to go backtrack and get the rare candy, but I feel like since Mew can one-shot the Machoke, I feel like it's fine. Plus, at this point, I can get Earthquake. This move is going to be so useful, especially since I skipped Dig. Plus, I can go to the 7th floor, and yeah, I think you see how this is going. We're going to be using Swords Dance and Earthquake strategies. We're not going all physical, though, because Mew still has very powerful special moves. In fact, we're going to replace Earthquake over Body Slam, and I do use some rare candies to get all the way up to level 41, and I still don't save here. I knew all my ranges going into these fights, because we were all using the RBY XP router, and it was honestly my first time actually experimenting with it. I remember I would spend an entire day just, like, figuring out, like, how it worked, and, like, looking at ranges and testing random things. I never put so much work into routing something like this. And also, you may have noticed I'm a minute and 11 behind. It's because I did Koga out of order since that last run compared to Rival 5. So the splits are going to be a little out of order. So, to be expected. But anyway, Jesse and James were never problems in this run. And Giovanni's not going to be a problem here either. Psychic just takes care of the Nidorino. I get to level 43. Psychic is going to be a 2-shot, but all it does is use Payday. Which, funnily enough, is a waste of text, because after the battle, we get to pick up some money. It was very quick, but still. But anyway, right here, we're going to go ahead and teach Swords Dance in the place of Ice Beam. We only really needed Ice Beam for Erica and the Sand Slash on the Rivals team. We really didn't need it much else. Then right here, I'm not even going to save for Sabrina. I literally don't think I saved once in this whole run, which was definitely impressive for me. I can one-shot that with Earthquake. That was a one-shot. I don't think the Alakazam was a one-shot, plus it outspeeds, so that's why I go for the Swords Dance. The worst thing she can really do here is waste your time with Recover, which, she did definitely use Recover for sure. And then at this point, fun fact, you step on the teleporter to use the escape rope, the animation is faster. You may be wondering, well, what about the time loss it takes to walk? Honestly, I think on 4 times speed at the very best, it might be a tie, but I don't think anyone has properly timed it. And also on Squirtle, you gotta teach Surf first, then Strength, because you only use Surf a grand total of 2 times in a solo run, 1 to get to Cinnabar, and 1 to go through Victory Road. But inside Victory Road, you have to use Strength on 4 or 5 separate boulders. So you definitely want to make sure you have Strength up top. I've had runs where Surf was on top, and let me tell you, it was annoying as hell. And since I unlearned Ice Beam, I'm going to need Blizzard. And as you can see, I'm level 44. At level 46, there are level 46 Raticates down here. But fortunately, I've looked in the game's disassembly when making my ROM hack. They are a 1% encounter down here, the specific level 46 Raticate. So it's very rare to encounter in a run. In fact, I remember this. During all of my MEW race attempts, I have never once seen it. Which, probably is the luckiest thing I've had happen. And at this point, like, my run is just going so good, but Blaine coming up is going to be rough. He's random, but rough. And I'm pretty sure the Ninetales is going to outspeed me. But, yeah, I don't save. Oh, wait, no, I do outspeed it. Never mind. Anyway, right here, you just use 1 Swords Dance. I get crit, which definitely scared the crap out of me. But I knew for a fact, once I set up the 1 Swords Dance, I was going to completely destroy everything. And level ups don't matter. But obviously, if I get burned, I would have to use an extra Swords Dance. Plus, as you can see right there, my bag was actually full, so I didn't get the Fire Blast TM. I didn't plan that, but some other people who I'm pretty sure have faster runs than me, I'm pretty confident that they actually planned for all that stuff and would even do things like buy random crap from the mart just to fill up their bag. I know Gym Leader Matt really likes doing that a lot. But that was just never something I really thought of. I think I probably would get into doing it more for Gen 1, just if I knew. Like, if I knew ranges and stuff. But anyway, I do have to use 2 Swords Dances. You may have noticed I didn't heal. That was actually a mistake, because that easily could have gone so bad. Now that I'm rewatching this, holy crap, I was playing ballsy. But, yeah, I end up beating Giovanni 51 seconds faster. I was trying to aim for a sub-32 run, which I might have been on pace to do, but I don't know. I was really trying to cut out saves. But yeah, I do have 1 full restore there. I'm going to go ahead and use the elixir. I actually cut out a center trip by using a repel, full restore, and elixir there. I think it is faster to do that since the center is quite a ways away from off the beaten path. But yeah, the Sand Slash, pretty easy setup target since it does not have Sand Attack anymore. And at +6, as well as thanks to the badge boosts, I just completely outspeed and one-shot everything. This Pokemon is an absolute menace, but I hated running this over and over again because A, the Brock split, and 2, having to deal with Mega Punch for so long. Plus, in terms of a race setting, when everyone is trying to outcompete each other for who can get the better luck, like, when races come down to luck, they don't end up being fun. Like, I think these races would have been fun if they only lasted for 1 week, because the first 5 days were actually really fun. Like, first 5 days, do a bunch of routing and testing, and then, like, maybe by the final day or 2, just try and get the best run you could. But, like, the final 7 days after that, because it was a 2-week race, it was literally just people just grinding their minds out. And fun fact, the MEW race was the reason I actually quit doing 2 edited videos a week back in early 2025. I was doing 2 videos a week, and I was doing a pretty good job of sticking to it. But this MEW race just completely destroyed me. I could never catch up. So I reduced it to just one edited video a week. But then obviously I quit working on videos at like the end of September, I believe, just so I could work on daily December. Man, I've been talking a lot. That's fine though. We're nearing the end of the run, and to my knowledge, I don't think I saved once. Like, I'm literally trying to see if I saved anywhere. I don't think I have. Which is kind of nuts if you think about it. I should have at least remembered to heal, but something I hate about Scott's overlay is it does not show your current HP. If it showed your current HP, I'd be a lot better at it. But yeah, right here, I have 2 last rare candies. Level 51, all I need. Let's do this shit. Okay, first up is the Dewgong. I use Psychic not by accident. I use it to try and bait the Dewgong into using Rest, because in yellow version, she is very likely to go for Rest on turn 2 depending on what Pokemon your type is, or what type your Pokemon is. So I would damage it, hoping it uses Rest, which it did. Then I would just set up 3 Swords Dances and sweep her entire team. Next up is the Fighting type Leaf 4 member, the Hiker. This guy leads off with an Onix. I'm just going to go ahead and Psychic his entire team. Yep. Check it out. Perfect level up, too. Not even going to save for Agatha, either. Because Agatha's not too bad, either. She leads off with Dewgong. I can use 1 Earthquake to one-shot. Then Psychic guarantees the Golbat. Psychic has more effective power than Thunderbolt here. And you may think Psychic is the better move on the Ghost because of its effective power, but no, the Ghosts have lower defense. Earthquake is actually the better move. But anyway, next up is the Dragon-type Leaf 4 member Lance. And for some reason in yellow version, those gates don't close behind you. It's so weird. And at this point, you teach Blizzard over Psychic because it's in slot 1, and Psychic isn't needed for the champion. It's not that great for the champion in yellow. But anyway, you Thunderbolt the Gyarados, Blizzard the Dragonairs. I've had 1 run end because of a Blizzard miss into a crit. I believe it was on the Dragonite. But yeah, I did miss a Blizzard. I needed this last one to hit. I was really freaking nervous while doing this. And yeah, look at that. Minute and 19 ahead. I knew this wasn't going to get sub 32, but I really wanted to try. Yeah, look at that. I did not save in this run once, which I would never do in a regular run. But anyway, you would set up Swords Dance on the Sandslash and just use 1 Earthquake, followed by another Earthquake. I remember looking at the ranges. 3 Swords Dances would not matter for that Sandslash because I would just be giving it extra turns to crit Earthquake or use Slash. Because guess what? You can just set up on the Exeggutor, and because of the good AI, it will never go for Hypnosis. It could go for Leech Seed though. And if you're wondering why I was using Earthquake, Earthquake had the better chance of 2-shotting than Blizzard. Especially since I have an evil attack stat right there. Then I can Thunderbolt the Cloyster, Earthquake the Flareon, and Scott's overlay stops the time on its own. But yeah, I got a time of 32 minutes and 28 seconds with 0 resets, 0 blackouts at level 57. And I had 583 bonks, and one of those bonks was when like Professor Oak walked you through the door. And I still had a rappel up too. But yeah, I am very proud of this run. If I was able to pull off that Bide crit strat on Brock, this could have gotten sub 32. Because you see the 431 Brock split I've had. Where is it? I'm going to pause this run. Right here, 431. I have had failed attempts actually beat Brock at around 4 minutes and 6 seconds. But then the run would just fail somewhere else. But grinding Brock attempts was so awful. But definitely, if I got the Bide crit strat to work, this thing could have gotten sub 32 and I would have been so happy. It probably wouldn't have been enough for first place. I know Ike the Killer, for sure, got a 31, and I think Exarian did as well. But I think even if I got the Bide crit strat, I don't think a run would have beaten it just because of overworld movement. But I was still very proud of this run. But if Scott ever does do like one of these kinds of races again, I probably won't participate. Either that or I'll just do one run and call it a day. I don't know. But I don't know if Scott will have brought this up in the video or not, but I know he was planning on hosting like a solo running tournament with like the top 8 players. I don't know if he's going to be doing that. I sure hope he does, but I remember they were just some plans. But yeah, I remember Steve and I did sort of work together on this. Actually, I let Steve use my plan, my notes and my root file. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure you check out Scott's MEW race if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you later today as Daily December continues.